programs are for. That's why we take these hearings very seriously. That's why we have the 11 different relationships with the government agencies in the Philippines, so that harmful content can be reported to us. And I think that's how we do our best, like I said, to ensure that people have a voice and the freedom of expression while also a safe experience. But as I said, I think the ultimate responsibility for content lies with the user that's posted it.
Mr. Chair, the questions I would be asking would depend on the answer of Dr. Frankel, insofar as whether Meta bears some responsibility, and therefore, since he has said that he cannot answer me directly, I will not ask the other questions. But may I make a manifestation, Mr. Chair? It seems from our discussion that social media platforms are making some effort to curb the spread of fake news in this country. However, I disagree with the impression that acting merely as host of user-generated content exempts these platforms from any liability for the harmful content they allow to be exhibited. As part of our legislative duties, I think it may be time to revisit the current legal framework regarding these social media platforms, if only to incentivize them to further crack down on these types of illegal posts. Now, may I go to another issue, Mr. Chair? Yes, Mr. Chair. Regarding monetization. Doctor, can you confirm whether Facebook or Instagram allows content creators in the Philippines to earn revenue directly through the platform? Yes or no?
The Congressman, I believe the answer is yes, but I want to make sure to check on that. I believe we have content creators that can monetize on our platform in the Philippines, yes.
Thank you. And would this mean that Facebook directly pays users upon fulfillment of certain requirements and upon reaching specific targets? Would that be correct also?
I'm not familiar exactly with the modality of payment, but again, I believe, yes, we do provide content creators with the ability to monetize here.
Thank you. And what are the means of earning through the Meta platforms, Facebook and Instagram?
I'm sorry, sir, what?
What are the means of earning through the Meta platforms, Facebook and Instagram?
There's different ways. You can monetize your content using something we call stars. There's ways that we can have partnerships. I think there's 2 or 3 different ways that creators can monetize.
Thank you. And are there specific content guidelines that monetized accounts must follow?
Yes,
so,
absolutely.
How are these enforced in our country or in the Philippines?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. So there are content guidelines.
Creators, like anyone else, must abide by our community standards.
Now, is there a process also for demonetizing content that is later found to be false, misleading, harmful, or otherwise violative of the community guidelines?
Any user that is monetizing on our platform can be demonetized if they have repeated violations of our community standards, including repeated violations of misinformation. Yeah.
No. Can you describe to this committee the revenue sharing model? How much of the ad revenue goes to Facebook, and how much goes to the content creator?
Sir, I honestly don't know the answer to that. I'm happy to provide that if we can take that under question to come back to the committee.
And who would be the proper authority from your group to answer that question?
We can come back to you on that. There's a few questions I think that we're going to put together as part of the follow-up to this, and we can happily add that as one of them.
Thank you. Now, my last question. How does Facebook ensure that creators don't exploit the algorithm by posting inflammatory or misleading content just to gain more views and earnings?
Mr. Chairman, again, if I may, As you pointed out, sir, we have policies that will demonetize pages if they engage in repeated violations of our community standards, or if they engage in repeated instances of misinformation.
For curiosity's sake, can you provide data available on how much content creators in the Philippines have earned through Facebook's monetization programs over the past years?
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, I do not have that data.
And who would have that?
Again, we can take that question under advisement and see if we can come back with something, but that may also be subject to privacy, and so I would have to see what the exact question is and see if we can come back to you on that.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Pakipatay.
Thank you. Okay, for a last manifestation, you're given 5 minutes. Honorable Abante.
Mr. Chair, thank you very much. I really would like to ask some questions, but I'm not going to ask any questions anymore. But as I listen to your explanation, I begin to realize, and I don't understand what meta actually is. All right? I have to admit I'm ignorant of what you're trying to do. But I would think, Mr. Chair, that Meta is a self-regulatory agency because you have community standards. Content and accounts that violate our community standards, including harmful misinformation, and you remove it. And you're not telling us that you have, in a way, a responsibility to do it. You have, because you are a self-regulatory agency of your company, of Facebook. Now, Mr. Chair, I'd like to ask if Meta could be able to provide us a data of whatever your community standards are, because we don't even know. We'd like you to give us a data of what you mean by harmful this misinformation. I'm not going to ask this question anymore because I know you're going to answer us with a lengthy statement, but just give us a data. What do you mean? Guidelines. What do you mean by community standards? What do you mean by harmful misinformations? Just give us the guidelines for that. Can you do that, Mr. Chair?
Mr. Chairman, if I may. Congressman, our community standards are publicly published and available in
Mr. Chair, I'm asking that you give us the data. Not being able to see it on public. We would like to ask you to give us the data.
Anyway,
Give us the guidelines for your community standards.
there are many requests as per interpellation from the different congressmen. So we will incorporate all these requests, requesting data.
Thank you.
Including your
Guidelines.
request regarding the community's standard guidelines. There was a request also from Arlene Brosas. So we will incorporate this on our official communication, and hopefully you'll also to give us the feedback.
Just one thing, Mr. Chair. Comparing the Philippines to different countries, do we have more misinformation here and violation of community standards? Do we have more of that than any country in the world? Do we have more?
Mr. Chairman, if I may. Congressman, I think that I would have to go back and look at the statistics, but we publish our transparency report on community standards enforcement every 6 months. And our fact checks, again, are also very transparent. That information is publicly available, as is our community standards. All the information that you've just requested is publicly available information. So, Rob,
Thank
did
you.
you want to add
Thank you.
anything?
You're asking, with your indulgence, Mr. Chairman, you're asking, obviously, Congressman Abante, a very important set of questions. The first thing I would say is just to reiterate, our community standards are readily available online. Number two, they're iterative. So in our consultations with your government and many others, they're revised with a lot of regularity. A lot of what we do is self-regulation, to be fair. But here in the Philippines, sir, if I